Comrades. It's time to learn the Brenda. It's time to learn the Brenda. Brenda. It's time to learn the Brenda. 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 It's time to learn the Brenda. Brenda. My reaction to that information. I'm live right now. I'm live right now learning Blender. My reaction to that information. My reaction to that information. Let's get this over here. Oh, wrong thing. Okay, where's chat? Where's the chat thing? Guys, chat, guys. We need to make sure this works, guys. Guys. Wait, give me a second. Let me find the, there we go. Here we go. Found it. Does chat box not work? Oh, there we go. There we go. I think it worked for a second. Let me go to properties. Okay, I want boxed. I like box better. Alright, that's good. Guys, you can type in chat right now, and you'll see it on screen. I'll type in chat. Oh, I can't. Give me a second. Whoa, what did that say? Usually you configure the stream before you start it. Yeah. But, like, no. No, I don't. That's not how I roll. Everybody knows that. That's not how I roll. I'm sorry. Okay, I got Unreal Engine here. Woo! Look at this. Oh, yeah. Hear this vibe, man. Yeah, it is taking up a lot, bro. I'm sorry, I'm just looking at... Let's turn that down to like 23. There we go. Hear this vibe, bro. Hear this absolute vibe, bro. Vibe, bro. And then you click play. Wow. Sorry if it's laggy. That's just how Unreal Engine be. It's not laggy for me. That's just how OBS works. But we're not doing Unreal Engine today. We're doing Blender. And if we feel like it later, I'm trying to make music for the game too. So I might go into FL Studio. But I'm going to try to follow the donut tutorial today. Which it's 1 p.m. right now. And the tutorial is probably like several hours long because it's like 16 parts on how to make a donut. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to use the donut tutorial. I know this is probably not achievable, but if we could, I would love to make a basic... If we can, I would just love to make a basic character. Like just a basic character. Yeah, I know. I want to customize it. So I just want to make a character, really. Because I was going to put animations on this character I already have. I mean, I already showed you what. Actually, I can just open that with Blender, can I? Yeah, I can, right? Let me, oh, actually, never mind. But, I don't really know what it's gonna be. I just want to make my character and then put animations in. And then I'm probably gonna, it might be like a puzzle game. I know I need to set up Steamworks soon because I'm probably gonna release it on Steam. Also, this is probably one of my the only reason I'm streaming on this because I don't want to stream on this account to do stuff like this. You should try to base it off like a lockpicking. Yeah, maybe. But like I was thinking, I didn't want to live stream on this account. I wanted to live stream on my new account for, developing games and Blender and stuff. But I didn't put in my phone number, so I can't stream for 24 hours. So this is gonna be the only stream you'll probably ever see on this account of me making a game. Tomorrow I'll stream on my new. So I'll be on there tomorrow making I'll be on there tomorrow on the new account. I'll send the new account in here. Let me go to the. I mean, I'll still upload on this. This is just gonna be for making gaming videos, And I mean, gaming videos on this. I'm just gonna put gaming videos on here, which gaming videos on here is what I want to do. So, but then it doesn't make sense to just randomly put game development videos because that just doesn't meet my style of content at all. So I just made a second channel. If I can find it, that'd be helpful. Oh, I'm on the wrong Discord. All right, that makes sense. I'll send the new channel. I'll be actually posting it. Oh, don't want Netflix. I'll be posting a video on there very soon. On there very, very soon. Okay, it wanted me to hide that message. You saying that, Officer CJ? It wanted me to hide that. I didn't care. I just did it. Yeah, who say hi, buddy? Buddy boy. But, yeah, that's the new channel right here. Did that link work? Yeah, that's the new channel. A video will be published on there like a day or two of me developing the game. This will be part of it, like right here. I'm gonna put this in the video. So anybody talking in chat might be in the new video. Alright, we need to get started. So we need to do donut tutorial. Donut tutorial. Donut tutorial. Donut tutorial? Donut tutorial. Donut tutorial. Donut tutorial? Donut tutorial. Donut tutorial. Donut tutorial. By the way, I'm playing Minecraft, so okay. Does everyone like the thumbnail of the stream, my reaction to that information? I really like it. Alright, so Blender donut. Okay, so it's that's not good. It's already almost 1 p.m. That gives us like hardly any time to do anything today. I wish I wouldn't have woken up so late. Well, that sucks. But guess what? It's alright. Because guess what? I don't care. I'll stay up all night. But I mean, crap, this is kind of stupid because I have Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and today. And then I'm back to school, so I probably won't be able to stream much. But I probably will, so who cares? Donut tutorial.
If you've just opened Blender for the first time and then you've tried to do things, maybe trying to see how far you can go without getting help, you might have discovered.
Okay, how do I Okay, I'm gonna drag this onto my other monitor. Well, I'm sorry you can't. Oh, what did you say? Let's see. You gotta give you justice, man. What did you say? What did you say? What did you say? Uh-oh. Chat isn't appearing. Chat. Refresh, maybe? Refresh. It won't refresh. That's fine. Okay, let's try this again. Okay, let's try this again. Okay, let's try this again. Okay. I'm not gonna keep unhiding them. I need to pay attention. Need to pay attention to this. Alright, well, what did I do? I just closed Streamlabs. Okay, that didn't end stream. Great. Alright, so I have this right here. I'm gonna drag this onto my other monitor. And then some people may be thinking, well, I want to see the tutorial. Well, too bad, but actually not too bad because I'm actually gonna let you guys see it. So now some people say I should have did this part before. But I think they're insanely wrong. So what we're gonna okay. This is not going the way I expected to. Okay, wait. Window. Y'all can't see this. Well, crap. I don't even. Okay, I'm trying to get the tutorial open. Okay, let's get this. Huh. Okay, I'm capturing my second screen now. Great. Not what I wanted. Get out of here. Oh, window capture. That looks like something I'd want to do. Or not. How do I capture Opera GX? Okay. Okay. Nerd emoji. Okay, I really don't know how to do this though. I guess we're just gonna have to deal with this. Or the thing could work. That would work too. Wait. Idea. Brilliant idea right now. Okay, you know what? This would work. This would work. What if I do this? But watch this. Whoa. Look at that. Now I just need to get this up on here. Huh. I still haven't accomplished the effect I wanted. I just wanted just the, this. I mean, I guess that works. Let's see.
You need help immediately. You can't even move things without a tutorial. But the good news is you don't need to learn everything that you can see, right? I, for example, have been using Blender for 18 years, and I still have not touched some parts of Blender, like scripting. Never touched it. Touched some parts of Blender.
Okay, does this work, guys? Okay, does this work, guys? Okay, does this work, guys? I don't know if it works. Okay, does this work, guys? I don't know if it works. Okay, you know what? No, I'm not showing you all that. Never mind. I'm sorry. L viewers, L. Alright, but let's get into the chat.
Because I don't need to, for what it is.
Okay, crap. So what's okay, so it's 1 p.m. almost. Crap. I don't have much okay.
What I'm trying to do. This fly's gonna kill me.
The fly's gonna kill him.
Familiar with the 80-20 rule? I think there's really about 20% of Blender's features that you'll use in 80 or 90% of projects. That's what I want to teach you in this tutorial series.
Ow.
And then since I think doing is the best way to learn, along the way...
It's not shotted?
Donut.
Oh,
Course.
donut.
Donut, what I'm known for. This is the third time I'm making a donut tutorial series. Every time Blender releases a new version, I
donut.
This series. So if you finish this full series, you will end up with a donut that looks very similar to this. So let's get started. This big window that you can see right here opened up.
Wait, since I'm not displaying that, can you all leave me hear it? Let's make sure you can. I don't want to just be playing that and you can't hear what he's saying. Yeah, I know. I don't trust you though.
Called the 3D viewport.
Yeah, I know. I don't trust you though.
Probably 90% of your time. Because
yeah, I know. I don't trust you though.
Probably 90%.
Okay, it works. Okay, thank you.
Everything you need to visualize, whether it's an animation or an ArcViz or anything like that, it all happens right here. So,
were you even learning donut in this one? Crap. I need to make a character today so I can make animations.
3 objects. You've got a cube. You've got what looks like a ball on a piece of string. That's a lamp. And then you've got a...
That's the camera. Oh, yep.
What would you call that? Like
that's the light right there.
Arrow-looking thing. That's a camera. Okay. And then if you were to render this by going to render image, or hitting the hotkey F12, it would take a snapshot
hotkey F12
that camera view. Okay. And although this looks
there we
very
go.
similar
Whoa.
to looking at, this one actually has lighting information. Okay. You got shadow. You got some light coming off the top here.
I just took off that.
Or materials and everything else. It would all be calculated. Okay. So if you've already used other 3D software, you're already familiar with the concept, but this is one of the basic principles of 3D.
Cube.
What you build in the 3D viewport is sort of like a simplified version of what it is you're trying to create. And then when you're ready for that final image, you hit render.
I understand.
Or your GPU to
oh, I closed chat. That's what happened. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Calculate the light and the bounces and everything like that to create that final beautiful image. So that's the basics. All right, but you might notice like, okay,
whoa.
All right, can we move this thing?
Whoa.
How do we even do something basic like move it? There's 2 ways you could do it. One would be to use the move tool in your toolbar. If you activate
yes,
you can see that over the cube now you get these arrows. And if you were to click and drag on any of those arrows, you would move it along that axis. If you clicked on the white circle in the middle, then that would just be sort of like free dragging it, okay? Now, you could...
Shift spacebar,
but actually, I never do it that way because it is far easier to just learn the hotkey, which in this case is G. G for grab. Okay, so if you just hit G, your cursor doesn't have to be anywhere near it, and I'm not clicking. My hands are off the clicker. It's just attached to your cursor basically the moment you hit G.
Whoa.
And if you just do a single left click, it will confirm its movement. So G, click. And my cursor could be anywhere, right? And I can,
Cool.
which is actually good because you don't have to like think about
Okay.
where is my cursor. Do I have to like get it on here and then hit it? No, it's really, it just allows you
Wow.
to really fast. Excuse me while I get into the water.
He's gonna drink a water.
2 minutes into the video.
What happened? What did I already broke it.
Now, one thing you're missing with this is
Where did the
axis
cube
lines,
go?
like being able to move it along a specific axis.
F12?
Is actually a really common
Oh.
action. You want to use it all the time. And you can do that after you have hit G
F12?
by typing the letter of the axes. So there are 3 axes, and the axes letters are X, okay, which is
I know what axes
right,
are. I don't need
Y,
the.
which is back and forwards, and
Well,
then
listen
Z,
to it. I don't
which
need
is
to know
up
it
and
though.
down. Some 3D softwares call the
F12?
Y-axis.
There we go.
But Blender's, it's the Z, the blue one.
X, Y, and Z.
Alternatively, you can also, as you're moving it, if you hold down on your mouse, on your scroll wheel, if you push in, that's called the middle mouse button, push in until it clicks, and just hold that, and you can see you get this little line that
Ooh.
and then you can just drag it to the nearest line, nearest axis, and it will automatically snap to that, which is really handy. Pretty cool. Not too bad. Okay, so that's moving things.
Why I just keep
Now,
rendering it.
Other 2 actions that are really common is rotate and scale. And you can, again, you could use the tool just by clicking here, and then you can, you know, rotate it on specific axes. You could click in the middle and like do a trackball thing. Scale, exact same thing. Scale it like that. But again, I recommend learning the hotkeys, which you can learn just by hovering over it. Yeah, the
hotkeys.
where it says shortcut shift spacebar. It's technically true. You could activate it from this little menu here if you hit shift spacebar, but it's the one after that. R. Really easy to remember. R for rotate. Okay, so rotate. The letter of the axes as well, or do that same holding the middle mouse button. Oh, that's weird. Maybe because I did it after tapping it. Anyways, and then you've got scale, which is hovering over it. S for scale. Okay, S, X, Y, and Z. If you want to cancel a movement, you can hit escape, or you can just right click as well, and that'll also cancel the movement.
That's a big cube.
But yeah, so you can see you could do quite a lot just with those few little movements.
Cube.
Okay, so that's how you move stuff about. Now, let's talk about the next thing you probably want to learn is like, how do I actually move my view? Like, how could I look and explore the rest of the scene? And that is also done with your middle mouse button. Okay, so if you click in on your scroll wheel until it clicks, you are orbiting. That is how I orbit.
I already know most of that.
My laptop people with
I don't care though. I'll listen to him.
because you just realized you don't have a middle mouse button. You can do it in a pinch by going to the top right hand corner. There's a little gizmo, and if you just click and drag on that, you can see that you are able to free rotate around. Alternatively, you can also go edit preferences, and then underneath input, if you click emulate 3-button mouse, this will enable you to holding down Alt. If you then hold down left click, it just does the same thing as the middle mouse button, which is pretty cool. It's not bad. Whilst you're here, by the way,
What tutorial? This tutorial?
on the size of your screen, you might want to change the resolution.
You probably sent something. It's probably not showing though, because you can't send links, I'm pretty sure. What did he say? Oh, please show me, chat. Why does this always happen? It glitches. Chat, why does this always happen? Oh, no, you didn't. Or maybe just didn't send it all. Who knows? Send it to me on Discord. Or did you? Who knows? Let's check. Nope. I'll look at it in a minute. I'm gonna do the donut tutorial.
On my 4K monitor, you can see that my buttons and the
Okay, I'll still look. I'm gonna look at what tutorial it is. Okay. I don't really need animation Blender right now. I'm not looking to do that right now.
really small. And if you crank it all the way up, you can get it to something.
Whoa! What happened?
0.4 or 5 is what I would normally go for. And by the way, I'm snapping it like as.
Oh wait, is this just scaling? Okay.
Using my middle of my screen here. Okay. If I want to move somewhere else, that is pan, which is shift middle mouse button.
Shift.
Okay, now I'm shifting my view to somewhere else where I could pan around that place and shift again. And if you're on a trackpad, you could also use this, move the view, this little hand icon thing at the top there.
Do this too.
Please.
Shift in this.
For 3D. You really should get a mouse. It's going to be tough. The other thing that I'm doing right now is I'm using the scroller to zoom in and out. You can also use this little magnifying glass up there, or control,
Shitty little donut.
control, and then again click in on the middle mouse, and that will use a smooth movement rather than the scroll wheel, which is quite jaggedy. Okay, cool. So let's say you've moved the cube all the way over there. Like, okay, so you could, if you wanted to go in and
Yay, 58 minutes left. That'll be to boom.
work your way over there by using shift middle mouse button to pan over there. But it is far easier to just learn the hotkey number pad period, which will focus on any selected object. So if I want to go to my camera over there, I can select my camera, and number pad period will take me over to there. Again, my laptop users are going, oh no, I don't have a number pad. All right. The alternative way to do it is hold down the tilde key, which is that weird key underneath your...
How do I get rid of this?
Used before. That brings up a... pie menu with a bunch of view options, and view selected is focus. View selected will take you there.
Oh, it's probably this right here.
Cool. So we've learned orbiting with middle mouse.
Nope,
shift
wasn't.
Middle mouse to pan, and then control middle mouse to zoom in and out or scroll. The other one you probably want to learn is align your view to axes, because it's something that you, like, new beginners often end up like upside down, and they're like, how did this happen? So you can go to bring yourself the right way up just by clicking one of these letters on your axes up here. Okay, so if you clicked that, I'm now the right way. Well, am I the right way up? Yes, I'm the right way up. I'm just focused on a weird part of the scene. That's why it's very weird. Alternatively, instead of these, so there's the 3 axes that you could snap yourself to. You could also learn the hotkeys, which is number pad 1 for front view, 1 for front view, 3 for side view, and 7 for top view. That's only number pad. It doesn't work for your keys along the top unless you wanted to enable that over here, emulate number pad, and then it would do that. But yeah, so that's...
oh, it's probably this right here.
You
Wait.
might also find... you'll notice, sorry, that in this view, this is orthographic mode. Okay?
Never mind.
So we can't see the other sides of our cube right now. It's a weird looking cube, but we can't see the other sides because this is orthographic mode. It's like looking at it with like a focal length of like infinity, right? So there's no depth in our scene right now.
Shading
It's
here.
actually really handy, and it defaults to it for this align to view thing immediately, because you usually want that. But the hotkey for that is number pad 5. And that will take you in and out of. This is your properties. And as you can imagine, properties of things in the 3D viewport or the scene. You could change render settings or things here. And look, there's a lot here. Like I would strongly recommend not trying to learn all the values, because you're not going to remember them anyway. We'll go through them as they're needed in this tutorial series. I think the best way to learn is to just do for something that you need to do. So that's what I try to teach. These options, some of these options will change depending on what is selected. So if my camera is selected, you can see I get a camera icon.
Oh, it's only blue if you do this.
If my cube is selected, I get some material settings, right? I could click material, and I could change the color to red, and I could see a beautiful gray-red color. It's a weird-looking red. The reason it's not changing over here, 3D viewport, is because, again, this is a simplified view of the final render. So there's no material properties.
Yeah, like watch.
We'll get to viewport rendering later on. But for now, you would see it, though, if you were in render. Now, at the top here, we have got a outliner. So this is keeping a running inventory of everything that you've got in your 3D viewport at the moment. So we've got objects and we've got one collection.
Okay.
It's like a folder, basically. Simple way to think of it. So you can like organize things. You can rename things just by double clicking on it. Yeah, whatever, right? And so that'll automatically update as you add things to the scene. If I was to duplicate my object, which I
Okay.
hitting Shift D to duplicate, you can see there's created another object right up there in the outliner. So if I ever like lose something and I'm like, oh,
What?
thing?
What? Alright. Back to the tutorial.
I can just find it on here and then just tap number pad 0, which is how you can look through the camera view. You can also do it by hitting the little camera icon on the right there.
Just shift.
Or by going viewport, camera, or by hitting the tilde key. So there are 4 places to get viewport options depending on
We move that
or
around.
whatever it is that you're looking at. Yeah, I deleted something by hitting X. You could also do it by hitting delete. By the way, I'm throwing a lot of keys at you, keyboard shortcuts.
My dad said something about SolidWorks. What's that? Huh. Oh, that's not really what I'm looking for. That's more like engineering.
It's a lot to take in, especially when you're starting. So I created a keyboard shortcut PDF, and the link for that is in the description. It's just a list. It's like 3 or 4 pages of the most common hotkeys that you'll need to learn, or you might need to reference.
Yeah, I'm not learning this.
So you can basically load it up on another monitor whilst you're working, and you've got it there as reference if you need it. I used to make it like a bonus for signing up for my newsletter, but now I'll just make it free. So you don't have to subscribe. You can just click that link, view it, and hopefully that'll make it easier to use Blender.
What is going on, guys? Streaming. I gotta like put out announcements saying I'm back. I'm back. Okay, so it's almost 2 p.m. Alright, great. Alright, almost 2 p.m. That's absolutely wonderful. So in 17 minutes, it'll be 2 p.m., 3 p.m., 4 p.m., 5 p.m., 6 p.m., 7 Okay, we can probably get it done today.
You can still subscribe to my newsletter. It's a weekly newsletter on tutorials, artworks, and things that I find in the 3D industry. So if you want to keep up to date and learn new things, you can subscribe to that.
I finished part 1 already, so we have just a couple more to go.
This tutorial series was brought to you by my company Polygon. High quality models and textures for better renders. Alright, enough faffing around, as my late grandfather would say. We have
we're making the donut.
all the hotkeys, we fooled around. Now we're going to start building that
donut.
Okay, so we are going to delete our default cube, which is
we're gonna delete the default cube,
which is the older.
Actually, let's open a new project because I kind of messed this one up. Let's just open a new one. It doesn't take that long. There we go. Look at that. Look at that nice cube. That's. You see this right here? It has that. If you go here, it has that. So I don't have shading on that because I don't feel like it. But look at that nice cube. That's a nice cube. So.
And we're going to replace it with something new. So to add a new object in Blender, you need to go up to Add up here, and you get this long list. Or you can hit the hotkey, which is what I'm going to be using for
Add.
Shift A. And truthfully,
Shift
most
A.
of these options, wow, a lot of these options you rarely use. Like speaker, I don't think I've ever used. Most of the time, what you're looking for is mesh. Because to render anything, you really need to start with a mesh.
I wonder if it's this.
Like if you followed like a character tutorial, you might be surprised when they're like, "All right, start with a cube, and then we'll bippity-boo, and we'll form the character eventually."
Bippity-boo.
Right. But you have to start with something. So usually you pick the object which most resembles what it is you're trying to create. And in this case, there's a really easy one.
It's the code.
The donut-shaped one. Torus. That is a word I never would have learned, except for Blender. I would have called that a donut. But evidently the mathematicians decided they need a special word for it. Okay. When you add an object and do
because it's how
actions actually in Blender, you get
how things work, buddy.
Straight after adding it, okay? But they're kind of hidden because they're trying to stay out of the way unless you need them. And it's down there in the bottom left-hand corner. There's a little box, which if you click it, it expands. And then you get options like the resolution and the size of
Whoa, where is this? Add. Where is that? It's not there.
And you get options. Down there in the bottom left-hand corner, there's a little box, which if you click it, it expands. And then you get options like the resolution and the size of it and everything. Now, if you don't see that box, it's probably because you accidentally clicked off it, okay? It'll only show it after you've just added it. If you click off it, it assumes you're fine with it. You're good, okay? Now, if you haven't done another action since then, if you haven't edited it and clicked on something else or whatever, you can temporarily bring it back for one last
there it is.
really until you do something else with F9. Okay, so F9 will bring those same options back just at your cursor, basically. But if you don't see it, then just re-add it, delete it, and re-add it, and you'll get those options back again. Okay, so with this, let's make some changes to it. Okay, so for starters, this is a very thin donut.
Yes, it is.
You want to know this maybe, but this is the third time I've made this donut beginner series. Every time
I know, you've told us many times.
Again, this is number 3. And basically, for the last 5 years of my life, I have been seeing every day on Twitter when somebody tags me in their donut render. And I've been very good at realizing the attributes that make donuts look good. And I think the best donuts are the ones that look thick. The ones that look like, oh yeah, I want to sink my teeth into that because it's got a lot of icing.
You're the donut expert.
I don't know, just something about a fat donut and just like, yeah, that looks delicious. So I'm going.
How do you do that?
To look good, and I think the best donuts are the ones that look thick. The ones.
Okay. Oh, let's add that again.
Ones that look like, oh yeah, I want to sink my teeth into that because it's got a lot of icing, it's got a lot of dough. I don't know, just something about a fat donut and just like, yeah, that looks delicious. So I'm going thick this time, okay? And then the major segments and the minor segments, these are, as you can probably see, we'll call it the resolution of our donut, but it's the amount of geometry. Okay, so this, you are probably tempted to go like really high because this is what I did when I first started using Blender in 3D. I'm like, I'm trying to make something high quality and realistic, so it's got to be smooth. Okay, so I'm going to go really high res. It's actually the opposite. You do not want that. I immediately realized when I started using this is a terrible idea. For one, you can't go back. Okay, when you go high, you can. If you go low, you can add other things, which is what we're going to do to make it smoother. But it's harder to go back. And also with this, it takes longer to render. It's harder to work with because it's a bigger file. Your viewport.
Okay, buddy.
And the computer's whirring way harder. And also it is harder to work with. Okay. When we enter edit mode, and we're going to do this later and like do some edits and stuff here, I have to work with this many vertices, these little points.
Oh no!
It's just too much. So you actually want the exact opposite. So, we want to keep it as minimum. Okay, so the minimum amount of detail
48
you're trying to create. We could go like really low, but we're actually going to use part of this donut for the icing. So I'm trying to think, okay, what am I going to do with the icing? Am I going to make some like dribbly bits going down it? I don't know. Having done this a few times, I think I'm going to go with around like somewhere around 40 to 20. Something like that. Let's go 16. 16 looks good. Okay. By the way, and you would never know this because how could you if you're a beginner? But like it's always a good idea to try to keep square faces because as a general,
almost 2 p.m.
organic, and it's going to be smooth. If it's got rectangular faces, it can like stretch the shading and things just start to look weird. So I'm trying to keep it generally to a square face. Doesn't have to be a hard rule, but something like that. All right, then I'm going to click off it and I'm done. And I can't get those options back temporarily with F9, but you get the idea. Okay, cool. So,
oh, I can get that back just by clicking F9. Well, I wish I would have known that. I kept deleting it over and over. I didn't know you could just do F9.
Okay, because although it looks like, what is the scale of our scene here, right? We're like looking into the distance.
Hey, by the way, it's almost 2 p.m. All right, 9 minutes, 9, 3 p.m., 4 p.m., 5 p.m.
They're like, how big is this grid floor? We don't know. It could be microscopic. It could be 500 meters.
Also, donut.
Landscape.
Donut moment.
I don't know. We actually do. Okay, so each one of these grid squares here, is it 1 meter or 2? I think it's 1 meter. Hang on. Yes, it is 1 meter. Okay, so this actually, the size of our donut is humongous. It is 3 meters by 3 meters. Okay, so if you, sorry, I didn't tell you the hotkey. N will bring up your properties. Very handy, convenient shortcut. You just bring it up when you want to click on your object and then go to item, and then you can see details around your object. Okay, so it's 3 meters by 3 meters, which is like roughly like 2 people laying down lengthways. By the way, speaking of that, if you are American, for my American audience, you can change your units to be Wacky Imperial, and you can get 9.9 periwinkles or whatever it is. I don't know. You can do that. I'm going to use 3 meters because the rest of the world is also watching. All right. So
Very
this obviously
because,
is too much
bro.
smaller. So we're going to scale it. Scaling the hotkey S. Scale it right down to the size of a donut, which I've learned is around about, like, the biggest size would be around about like 10 centimeters, right? Yeah, roughly. So yeah, 10 centimeters is what we're looking.
Okay, we need to small it down. Okay. Donut.
For something like that. We could have done it when we added the torus, but that was radius, and radius is like you got to double it to make it. And I'm like, just scale it down after we make it, and it'd be much easier to figure out. Okay. Now, the other thing I want to do is apply the scale, because, and this is another thing you would never know if you're a beginner, but it's sort of a running joke in the 3D world. Anytime you run into a problem with your mesh, something's not working, apply the scale, because if your scale is wrong, other things tend to perform wrong, like modifiers and other things like that. So this scale here should pretty much always be 1 if you can, yeah, try and make it always 1, roughly speaking. So to apply your scale, you go Control A and then hit scale. Okay, so Control A for apply and then scale. And now it is 1. Nothing has changed, but it just means things will work better in the future. And I'm just doing it because I know you forget it, and then they'll be like in the comments, and people go, "Why is mine messed up?" And it was because of this part I didn't say hit. Anyway, all right. Okay, so how do we get rid of these jagged lines? Because that's probably your next one.
Oh.
How do we get rid of those jagged lines? There are two types of shading in Blender or in 3D: flat and smooth. So by default, it is
Like that.
flat. To change it to smooth, we just right-click and then hit Shade Smooth. Okay. And when we do that,
Whoa.
basically, like for these faces here,
Oh, dude.
instead of treating each face separately, if they're an adjacent face, it's going to like stretch the light across. It's going to treat it as if it is one continuous face rather than 2 faces. So for organic objects, which means
Whoa, dude.
that are flowing essentially, or rounded things maybe, you generally want smooth things, and then for like architecture or hard surface things, you want flat things. So Shade Smooth. So we've got.
We can make tires with this.
Now you'll notice that it has not fixed the silhouette of our object. Okay, so Shade Smooth is a illusion. Okay, it's not actually adding any geometry, which is great because it's lightweight, it's easy to work with. It's not adding geometry, but your silhouette will still be broken.
How small does donut look on this?
Only way to fix it
Donut.
detail. It's something that.
Oh, look at how bad that looks.
like,
It's just
that's kind of
pixelated now.
Thing. If you want to look at a game and go like, I wonder how poly this thing is. Like, look at the silhouette of a character or the shape of a building or something like that. And if you see jagged lines, you can basically see the mesh, like how high poly something
Almost
is
2 p.m.
by
Alright.
the silhouette.
We'll keep
So,
going till like
that
4 p.m. and then we'll get off.
Surf operation.
We gotta make this donut.
Or subdivision. And there are a few ways to do it. But the way to do it in Blender is with adding a modifier. Okay, so we click this little wrench. Or is it a spanner? Is that a spanner? It's been a while since I got my hands dirty. Anyways, it's the modifier. And then go up and underneath add modifier. If you click it, you get a whole bunch of different options here. And the one that we're looking for is, I mean, you use it so often. I wish it was at the top, but it's not. It's down here, subdivision surface. So you click that,
Division surface.
you might see that it has now smoothed out.
Oh.
Slightly. You can see that edge there, the jagged edge is no longer there. Or it is there, but it is less. So what is subsurf? Or
That's awesome.
Subsurf, even though it's got subdivision. Subsurf modifier, what it is doing is and I'm going to temporarily turn this off by that little icon there. That's viewport. So if you uncheck that, it's disabling it for your viewport. And that
Ah, dude, that's awesome.
disable it for your render. Okay, so what it's doing, you can see the edge there, right? If there are 3 points that make up that edge there, Subsurf is now adding in It's doubling the amount of detail across the entire mesh, not just
Oh,
the
no.
entire mesh. Every single point, it is now adding. Now, if you do 2 levels, so levels viewport and render, you can probably guess, that's just one operation. Okay, if I set this to 2, which is what you would see, yeah, set it to 2, which is what you see when you would render it, it's doing it again. Okay, so it's, I guess the word's exponentially. It's exponentially adding detail every time you add this. So it's going to do it again and again and again. So obviously you don't want to go too high because otherwise your render times would be crazy. And yeah, you just want to keep it as low as possible. So often I keep it 1 or 0 whilst I'm working in the viewport. And then for the render, I keep it at like 1 or 2 or something. Anyways, all right. Okay, so we're spending a little long on this, but I need to just give you some background on how to make things look smooth without really going high res. Okay. So as I teased before, this mesh is made up of little points, and we can edit those points and adjust things and whatnot by going into edit mode, which you can do by hitting tab on your keyboard. Okay.
Tab.
Another way is to go up to the top left-hand corner, change from object mode to
Whoa.
mode. Okay. So tab is just a fast way to switch between those 2 modes. Another way, third way, because why not? Control tab will bring up the pie menu.
What happened
You
here?
can enter into, along with just object and edit mode, but like texture paint and sculpt mode, and we'll do a bunch of stuff later on. But edit mode. Okay. So in edit mode, we can see that we're now able to see the skeleton roughly that makes up our mesh. Okay, each of these little points here is what makes up our mesh. So these points are called vertices. Sorry, a single one is called a vertex. Multiples are called vertices. Always get them confused because it's got an S on it as well. It's like vertices, vertexes. It's not vertexes, vertices. Anyways, these little points make up our mesh. And on each of these points, if you've got 3 or more, usually 4 is the ideal one.
Whoa.
Usually aiming for when you're making meshes, you can make a face. Okay, so if I just delete, I'll just hit X and I'll show you what it looks like without a face. Okay, so between each of these points there, I'll add another one with F, there is a face. Okay, so all the points together make up a face, and then that makes up your mesh. So what this means is that with these points, if I want to change the look of my mesh, I can take some of these points and I can move them. Okay, and you use the exact same hotkeys as you did before. So to move something, it is G for grab. Okay, so if I move this up and then go back out of edit mode to object mode, you can see as I move around, it's now got a little lump on it. Okay, pretty handy. So I could do that, right? I could tweak the shape of my mesh. Okay, so let's say like I wanted to, you know, like make my donut look kind of like lopsided, or like add some detail, because this is necessary, by the way. Your brain, when it thinks about objects, because you've seen them so many times, it simplifies it in your head. You think of a donut as being round, but it's bumpy, it's lumpy. It was thrown in the fire. The guy who like made the dough, it was all lopsided. But in your head, you just think of it as a round circle.
Okay.
The digital
But
world
let's
will
make it a
always
round
be the
circle.
perfect thing. So you need to go in and add those imperfections. There's an old
Okay.
quote, don't know who said it. Imperfection.
Okay,
is
buddy.
imperfection. Yeah, I don't know. It's very, very true. So think of that. So anyways, we need to add some lumps to it and make our donut lopsided. So if we held down Shift, we could select multiple points, and then we could drag these out. I could do this. I could, you know, slowly go through it. Now this is tedious, as I'm sure you can see. Clicking, lots and lots of clicking, little points, and that's really because that's not the way I would do this.
Yes.
What I would do
Different way.
is a
Yes,
feature
thank
that we
you.
use all the time, and that is proportional editing.
Thank you.
Click this little button at the top here, or the hotkey for that is O. Turn that on and off. What this will do is that now when I rotate, scale, or hit G to grab and move it, now it's actually grabbing vertices around it and it is moving it together as a whole. Now by default, your proportional size is really high, okay? So if I scroll up, I can gradually bring the fall off down to what actually makes sense for my donut, okay? Now, this was actually a point, I was reading the comments on the last video, the last version of this I made, and this was a point that a lot of people got stuck on. If you can't see this ring here, just keep scrolling up, because it is there. If you see top left-hand corner, actually, it gives you the measurement. As I scroll, you can see the measurement of my fall off. What you're looking for is something like a 0.0. and that is proportional editing. So if you click this little button at the top here, or the hotkey for that is O, turn that on and off. What this will do is that now when I rotate scale or hit G to grab and move it, now it's actually grabbing vertices around it and it is moving it together as a whole. Now by default, your proportional size is really high, okay? So if I scroll up, I can gradually bring the fall off down to what actually makes sense for my donut, okay? Now this was actually a point, I was reading the comments on the last video, the last version of this I made. Really high, okay? So if I scroll up, I can gradually bring the fall off down to what actually makes sense for my donut, okay? Now this was actually a point, I was reading the comments on the last video, the last version of this I made. And this was a point that a lot of people got stuck on. If you can't see this ring here, just keep scrolling up because it is there. If you see top left-hand corner, actually, it gives you the measurement. As I scroll, you can see the measurement of my fall off. What you're looking for is something like a 0.04. If you can't see 0.04 meters, just keep scrolling up until you see it. And if you are on trackpad, because those people also got stuck because they're like, how do I scroll while I'm doing it? All you do is on trackpad, you tap G, then do a single click, and then down here in the bottom left-hand corner, you've got those options again. And then you could adjust your proportional size to like a 0.04. And then if you move, you should see the correct proportional fall off, okay? Really, guys, invest in a mouse, please. Going trackpad, look, it's fine for Facebook, but like you're doing stuff in 3D, you gotta have a mouse, come on, all right. Okay, so now that I do this with my fall off radius, and if I just scroll up and down, I can adjust and I can make my donut look however I want much more easily, okay? Make this part go out. Maybe make this part have like a little lump that sort of make this part go out. Make my donut look however I want.
Oh, I don't know how to do this.
Scroll up and down. Your proportional size to like a 0.04. And then you could adjust your proportional size, left-hand corner of my fall off. What you're looking for is something like a point, could, slowly go through it. Now this is tedious, as I'm sure you can see. Clicking, lots and lots of clicking, little points, little points. And that's really because that's not the way I would do this. What I would do, which is a feature that you use all the time, and that is proportional. So if you click this little button at the top here, or the hotkey for that is O, turn that on and off. What this will do is that now when I rotate scale or hit G to grab and move it, now it's actually grabbing vertices around it and it is moving it together as a whole. Now by default, your proportional size is really high, okay? So if I scroll up, I can gradually bring the fall off down to what actually makes sense for my donut, okay? Now this was actually a point, I was reading the comments on the last video, the last version of this I made. And this was a point that a lot of people got stuck on. If you can't see this ring here, just keep scrolling up because it is there. If you see top left-hand corner, actually, it gives you the measurement. as I scroll, you can see the measurement of my fall off. What you're looking for is something like a 0.04. If you can't see 0.04 meters, just keep scrolling up until you see it. And if you're on trackpad, because those people also got stuck, they're like, how do I scroll while I'm doing it? All you do is on trackpad, you tap G, then do a single click, and then down here in the bottom left-hand corner, you've got those options again. And then you could adjust.
Oh, I see how to do it now.
size
I get it.
to like
Oh,
a
wow, donut.
0.04. And then if you move
Donut moment.
proportional fall off. Okay. Really, guys, invest in a mouse, please. Going trackpad, look, it's fine for Facebook, but like you're doing stuff in 3D, you got to have a mouse. Come on. All right. Okay, so now that I do this with my fall off radius, and if I just scroll up and down, I can adjust and I can make my donut look however I want much more easily. Okay. Make this part go out. Maybe make this part have like a little lump that's sort of skew-if like that. Maybe this middle part, sort of like this. Okay. And I'll do another one here, something like that. Okay. Oh, that's a little lopsided. It's a little bit repetitive of what's on that side. And this is maybe a little bit too far. Just sort of playing it by eye. But I have to keep this for the rest of the donut, for the rest of the tutorial. So I'm trying to do it well. Okay, and something else, by the way, another hotkey. You can see that if I want to move this up, if I was to move it like this, right? It's moved everything also left to right as well, okay? Because of my camera angle, okay? If I'm looking at something like this and I'm moving it, it is moving it across the donut. So it's scrunching everything going this way. That's not what I want. I want it to go directly up. So it means I have to get my camera angle like right down here to do that up. Alternatively, a better way, not to throw too many hotkeys at you, get my keyboard shortcuts if you haven't already, link in the description. But another hotkey is Alt-S, which instead of moving it just arbitrarily, this will now move it according to which direction those faces
Donut.
and this is actually perfect for this exact case because we've got, points, rounded around it. And it's just, it's tedious to have to get my camera angle exactly right when really I just want to be able to select certain parts and then pull them in and out. So Alt-S allows me to do that. The shrink and fatten tool is what it is called. But other softwares, I think they call it move along normals or something like that. Something like that. All right. And then maybe the base as well. I think we should make it a little bit lopsided on the base. Move that down. Something like that. Now there is a sculpt tool, which we'll talk about when we get to the icing, that could also do this, but that is not the point of this tutorial. So I'm just doing proportional editing because, to be honest, like this proportional editing is perfect for this kind of thing. Yeah. Cool. So it's just entering into edit mode to do your changes, going into object mode to see how it looks, and then swapping back out with tab again. And that's really all it is. I think this is too thick on this side now. Too lopsided. I went too far with the imperfections. But that also comes into like the style of it, of what you're doing. Yeah. Something like that. Oh, by the way, another side point I just mentioned, we're talking about object and edit mode, okay? A big problem a lot of beginners have that I find is that later on, you'll be like, I'll say, all right, so select your lamp and your camera or something like that. And they'll be like, oh, I can't click on it. What's happened? It's because you are still in edit mode, okay? Edit mode means you cannot click on anything else other than the object that you are editing. You're still in this. When you switch back to object mode, you're now
Okay, buddy.
any object in your scene, but in edit mode, it is locked to that view. So if you can't click on things, just remember, check what mode.
Donut look wacky, bro.
Mode, switch to object mode, and you'll be fine. Okay. Just to finish on something completely random, because why not? Just throw it in there just as a little Easter egg.
Alright, this looks
At
nice.
the end of the video.
Well, actually, it doesn't look nice, but donuts have imperfections. The factory that made this, Krispy Kreme's failed donut. Their conveyor belt broke down, man. Almost 3 p.m. 48 minutes, alright.
Make a lumpy looking donut. So it's kind of like a quick way if you wanted to make a lumpy looking donut, you could do it.
Sup? What is up?
Also, if you change the fall off type, okay, so this is that ring, that little circle that goes around it, right? If you changed it from the smooth one to sharp, then you would make it something else, like a spike.
That does not look good. I'll show you what that looks like. What he's talking about. You want to see what he's talking about? I'll show you what he's talking about. That's a pretty nice donut.
He warped donut. I don't know. It actually looks better
Sup,
without the,
mellow moment.
and like flat. It's like, no, it does not. Okay, I don't know what I was thinking with that. To make renders like these, you need high quality
Donut parfait. Let's see what my dad thinks of the donut. Give me a second. He's gonna be short first. Never mind, he's on the phone. This is a 9-minute tutorial, so 9 minutes, yep. 9 minutes and 46 minutes will be 3 p.m. We'll be able to get a couple tutorials done before then.
assets, which is why I created Polygon, a library of models, textures, and HDRs that work in any 3D software. Get started today at polygon.com. Welcome back to the Donut Show, where we make virtual donuts that we cannot eat. In this part, we're going to be making icing. So, with our wonderful donut here selected, we're going to
I'll make
like
icing.
I mean, you could do it a million ways. You could like add a plane and then like model it out and try and pull it down and then sculpt it and do a bunch of different ways.
It's almost 3 p.m. by the way, so we have about 45 minutes. Okay, 45 minutes. That's a decent amount of time. 45 minutes. Yeah, that's pretty good.
The easiest way, really, whenever you're doing something, is to like try to
No,
reuse part of your mesh wherever you can. So we've already got the shape of a donut. We can
Oh no.
duplicate our donut, shave off half of it, and then we've basically got icing. So that's what we're going to do. So enter into edit mode, and we want to select half of our donut. So if we went into, you can see that, like if we looked at it from this,
I don't like that.
through, you can see we're missing part of it, right? Because it's like, this is one of those cases, is what I'm trying to say, where you need to use straight on. Okay, so, or number pad 1, number pad 3, whatever you want to do, something like that. Okay, and by the way, when you use this, it also switches you to orthographic mode. Okay, so perspective mode is where you've got the like.
Probably gonna ask us to do that.
And then orthographic mode is when it is like as if it was like on a focal length of like infinity. So you're seeing like the actual. What's the best way to describe it? No perspective, essentially, 0 perspective. And you can toggle between that, by the way, also with a number pad 5 or by clicking this little gizmo on the right-hand side there at any point. It doesn't have to be in a certain view. Okay, cool. So if we were to just drag over this right now, it looks like we've got half of our donut. However, if you moved around, you would see we're missing the other half of it. Okay?
Uh-oh.
And that's because it's hard. Okay, the mesh is hard, and therefore
3 p.m.,
select on
4
the
p.m.,
side, we have to be able to see through it, and we can do that by going up here and toggling X-ray. Or the hotkey for that is Alt Z, and that will now show us right through it. And now when we drag over it, you can see that we've got exactly the top half of our donut all the way around. Okay, perfect. So we want to duplicate this and then separate it. Okay, so I'm going to hit Shift D, which is how you duplicate, or you can go up to Mesh.
Okay, I'm gonna have to do this a little bit simpler. Alt Z, please. Three. Alt Z.
and then click on duplicate, wherever that would be. Right there.
I already found it, buddy.
Yeah, but Shift D. Okay, now when you do that,
Whoa.
you can see that it is now locked onto my cursor, okay? And it's telling me, where do you want to place this duplicate? And I don't. I want to leave it exactly where it was. So if I hit escape or right click, it's going to cancel the movement and put exactly where it was, but it is now duplicated.
Donut.
Now what we want to do
Almost 3
is move
p.m.
this to its own object, because you can see that we've now got vertices on top of vertices, and they need to be their own separate objects. So to do that, the hotkey is P. P for part of the mesh. Go to...
Yeah, thank you.
I don't know.
Good job. You don't know. You don't
It's
know.
always been P.
You don't know, buddy.
And we're looking for selection. So separate by the selected part of the mesh. Okay. And now, in
Whoa.
mode, if we switch out...
It's gonna work. Whoa.
two objects, and actually we can see them up here in the outliner as well. Okay. And now just very quickly, because I know that some of you will have just messed up accidentally, and you are now screaming at the screen, oh no, how am I going to fix this? When you did this step, you duplicated it, you right click to cancel it, and then you accidentally did a single click. If you clicked something else, you've now got mesh on top of a mesh, and you don't know which vertex is which is the one that was the
I
one that
know.
was made, right?
Smart.
Or which one is the actual donut. So if you ever run into this problem, what you can do is to select only things that are connected, because these are no longer connected, right? There's bits that are not connected. It's Control L, or just mouse over it and then just hit
No,
a single
I'm not an idiot.
L
I didn't
for
mess up.
Loose.
I never mess up.
Is it? I don't know what it is. Link. Oh, it's linked. Okay, select linked. There they go. Then when you do that, you can actually, find the right part of your mesh.
Show
Now I've
me.
actually just got just my donut and then just my icing. Fantastic.
Oh, Jed.
Okay, so up here in the outliner, you can see two objects, and it's probably a good time to name it. Okay, so you can name it by just double clicking in the outliner, and we can call it icing.
Ooh.
Another way to name it is if you've just got your object selected anywhere in your 3D viewport. It's the same hotkey as Windows renaming files. It's F2.
Uh-oh.
F2, and I can now type in.
I just sat there deleting random shit. Okay, I accidentally just undid all my progress. Because instead of Control Z, I was clicking instead of Alt Z, I was clicking Control Z, which was just backing up all my progress. Hotkeys. Okay, it's Control Y. Good, I got that back up. Okay, now I need to do Control Y. How do I... Sorry. I'm having technical difficulties. Blender hotkeys. Sorry, I need to look at this photo. I'm gonna do that. I accidentally undid all my progress. Which I could probably get all that back in like 5 minutes, but I don't feel like it, so I'm gonna go here. Where is redo action? Huh. Uh-oh. That's bad. Don't worry, though. I'm prepared for the worst. Donut looks fine. Okay. What we'll do is we'll do the good old, I just did it again. Like, it's Alt-Z that does X-ray, and then it's Control-Z that undoes, like, all your progress. Look at that. Okay. Yay. How do I get out of edit mode? Okay. Hey, Gray. It's almost okay. Put that back over here.
Donut Windows just got, you can call it it. So up mesh. Then when you do that, you can actually find the right part of your mesh. Okay, so now I've actually just got just my donut and then just find, there they go. Parts, just hit a single bits that are not connected. It's Control L or just mouse over and then just hit a single L.
Control L.
Loose parts. Is it? I don't know what it is. Link. Oh, it's linked. Okay, select linked. There they go. Then when you do that, you can actually find the right part of your mesh. Okay, so now I've actually just got just my donut and then just my icing. Fantastic. Okay, so up here in the outliner, you can see 2 objects, and it's probably a good time to name it. Okay, so you can name it by just double clicking in the outliner, and we can call it.
Okay, we need to go to. Okay, so now I should have that, right? There we go. There we go.
Icing. Another way to name it is if you've just got your object selected anywhere in your 3D viewport, it's the same hotkey as Windows renaming files. It's F2, and I can now type in donut, and there we go. So 2 things, and we could organize it however we want. Cool. So our icing is currently looking like a skin tight something. It's got to have some thickness to it, okay? And we can do that with the modifiers. Okay, so going over here to your modifier stack again, we are looking
Sorry, wasn't paying attention.
The solidify modifier right here. There really needs to be a search function for the modifier stack, but there's just a lot here at the moment. So solidify, okay. Now when we do this, you might not have actually really seen much change. If you went into wireframe mode, which you could do by hitting Z and then dragging to the left to go wireframe, or up here, so this is solid view mode, this is wireframe mode, okay? In wireframe mode, we're able to see just the raw mesh without any faces.
Cool.
See that it looks like a donut within a donut, but it's got thickness to it, but it is pointing it in the wrong direction. So this offset setting here from -1, we want to change that to 1. And now go back to solid view. Okay, so that is just a doona of icing. It's a lot. So we're going to turn our thickness down to be something a little more reasonable. And by the way, when you're dragging these values here, here's a tip. You can see that it's like really hard to control because subtle movements is what I need, but it's moving it by a lot. If you hold down Shift, that is not incremental.
Uh-oh. Okay.
What is it? Smooth movements? Subtle movements. Yeah. Anyways, holding down Shift when you need to use small numbers. And Control, by the way, will snap it to increments. So I use that actually quite a lot. So yeah, Shift for smooth movements and Control for incremental, or both. Smooth, like subtle and incremental. Anyways, all right. I'm giving you all the hotkeys and everything at once. I hope it is not too much for you. All right, I'm going to go for like something like a 0.0015 of icing because I want it to look somewhat thick, but like not too thick. Okay.
Yeah, I understand.
Something to keep in mind is that this edge here, it looks kind of weird for a lot of reasons. If we went into flat shading mode, you could see that it's created like a hat, a hat on.
Let's see what my dad thinks of it. I'm also probably gonna do a tutorial after this for like some other stuff too. You wanna see it? It's not done at all. It's just
Oh yeah.
still got the icing layer on there.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
on the way.
That's good.
Yeah.
Good job.
Donut. He said he liked it. Okay. It's almost 3 p.m. Alright. 28 minutes will be 3 p.m. Really? Yep.
On our donut, okay? And the reason for that is the order of our modifiers here. So
His icing looks kind of stupid.
What is the best way to think of it? Well, it's working from top to bottom. That's how we'll describe it. Okay, modifiers are fantastic because at any point we can change these settings. It is a non-destructive way of working. This subdivision setting that I had before, I think it's too high. So I can come in here and I can change these settings, okay? Make it lighter. If it was not, if I was to apply it or I did it a different way, I could not change those settings. Non-destructive, it is fantastic. It also means that, yeah, it's working from top to bottom. So what I want to do is move this above my subdivision, which I can do by just dragging these dots at the top here, just dragging that up. And you can see that now it's doing the, if I just turn that off, it's doing
Ooh, that got the layer.
part first, and then it is smoothing it, which means that that edge there that was like this before is now forced to go like this because of the subsurf, because it adds those points and then it kind of averages them out, which is, yeah, how subdiv works. There we go. Cool. So now, I don't know, now that thickness doesn't look like enough. So I'll just increase that a little bit. And I'm going to go shade smooth again. Okay. Lovely.
Yeah, let's
well,
get,
good time. Yeah, let's just jump to the next video. We're actually going to start modeling in the dripping parts of our icing in the next part and doing a little bit of sculpting as well. So click here to join me in the next part. I'll see you there. Join over 1 million 3D artists who use Polygon's models and textures to help them make better renders faster. Join for free.
We won't get a colored donut until part 6, which is 30 minutes long.
Calm.
So that's in about probably like an hour or 2.
Congrats on not giving
All right.
yet.
Yay! Congrats.
Whenever you release a multi-part tutorial series, it's just fun seeing like the viewership drop
Why is
after every part as people.
Why does the donut look so goofy? Look at that.
Hey, you're staying on track. You haven't given up.
Goofy donut.
No, I do hope that you can all stay through. In this part, we are going to be making our icing look more like icing, more dribbled down rather than like a yarmulke or a half of a bagel or something.
Oh, not.
This in half. I feel like that would look pretty close to a bagel. Yeah, it does. We want to make it look more like icing and also make our donut underneath also have a little bit more shape. So, the icing.
Yep.
Now we
the
want
icing.
to see our mesh and like manipulate things and everything here, but we can't because it's mostly hidden by our solidify modifier. So in your modifier stack over here, if we just uncheck this button here, then it will no longer display in edit mode. So I can work with the mesh here, but then I go back to object mode, then you can see the solidify modifier again. So that's what we want. Okay. So if I was to move this down by hitting G, I got to.
How do I do that crap? Forgot how to do it.
Here, but then I go back to no longer display. Uncheck this button here. Then it will no longer display in edit mode, so I can work with the mesh here. But then I go back to object mode, then you can see the solidify modifier again. So that's what we want. Okay, so if I was to move this down by hitting G, I got to turn on my screen keys tool because it's turned off. There we go. If I move this down with G and then went back to object mode, you can see that we've got something that looks like a little droop, a little dribbly bit. So you can guess we are going to be doing quite a bit of that. I'm going to turn on proportional editing, as you could probably guess, so that now when I move down, I can scroll up, scroll down and increase the fall off, and now I can create a big.
Whoa.
But you'll notice that straight away, there's a couple of problems. Okay, so.
Whoa.
To make renders
I just went to the next. I just went to a different tutorial.
I created Polygon. a library of models, textures. Join
Yay.
1 million 3D artists who use polygons, models, and textures
4
to
p.m.
help
and
them
5 p.m.
better renders faster. Join to object mode, then you can see the solidify modifier again. So that's what we want. Okay, so if I was to move this down by hitting G, oh, I got to turn on my screen keys tool because it's turned off. There we go. If I move this down with G and then went back to object mode, you can see that we've got something that looks like a little droop, a little dribbly bit. So you can guess we are going to be doing quite a bit of that. I'm going to turn on proportional editing, as you could probably guess, so that now
Wait. Object mode? Edit mode. Yay.
now when I move down, I can scroll up, or no, scroll down and increase the fall off, and now I can create a big dribbly bit. But you'll notice that straight away, there's a couple of problems. Okay, so for one, this bit is sticking straight out, and then also this bit of our icing is clipping through the donut, which would require a whole bunch of fixing and like manually going in there. It's not good. So it would be great if we could make it snap to the face under.
Okay, you know what? We need to. Sorry. Wind up about a minute. Rename that to. Okay. Okay, that's not what I wanted to do. That's the below layer, though. I'm looking to make it. Okay, I think we fixed it now. Fixed donut moment. Look at the donut. Do not. Okay, hopefully it finally works. Let's see. Woo! Mind-bending technology. Donut. My reaction to that information.
So that now when I move down, I can scroll up, or no, scroll down and increase the fall off, and now I can create a big dribbly bit. But you'll notice that straight away, there's a couple of problems. Okay, so for one, this bit is sticking straight out, and then also this bit of our icing is clipping through the donut, which would require a whole bunch of fixing and like manually going in there. It's not good. So it would be great if we could make it snap to the face underneath. And there is a feature just for that. Okay, So the snapping tool is right up here. Okay, this little magnet icon. Okay, now quick, just overview of snapping. Snapping, you can always, whether you go up there and like turn it on or not.
Okay. Please go over this again.
If we could make it snap to the face underneath, and there.
Really? That's crazy.
Okay, so the snapping tool is right up here. Okay, this little magnet icon. Okay, now quick, just overview of snapping. Snapping, you can always, whether you go up there and like turn it on or not, you can always temporarily enable it
Donut.
by holding down Control. Okay, so this default is set to increment. So if I'm moving an object, rotating, scaling, that's transforming. Okay, so it's snap during transform. If I'm moving it, if I just hold down Control as I move it, I am temporarily restricting its movement to the grid floor underneath it, basically, because that's the increment that it's looking at. Okay. So
Donut.
when I'm holding down Control to that, and that is the exact same thing as if I was to check that, turn that button on, and then move it without hitting Control. Okay. So there's no difference between holding Control or not holding Control. It functions the exact same way. It's just that this way lets you do it without having to hold Control, basically. But that's also another good point, because there's a...
Okay, buddy.
I can't remember what it is, but you sometimes hit it accidentally without realizing, and then you're like, why can't I move things properly? Like it's all messed up, and that's actually a common beginner.
Donut.
Just check that that's not turned on. Just check, yeah, because it's probably turned on. Anyway, okay, so coming back to our donut here, we want to make sure that that's turned on, and I want to change it from snap to increment to snap to face. Okay, and now that I do this, you can see that if I grab this edge here, sorry, that point there, and I just move it down, you can see that part of it is this edge here, at least, or this point, is now snapping to the face. Okay, but this part is not. Okay. So there, okay. I'll try not to say that too much. There is a function for this. Underneath snap to project individual elements, which doesn't explain anything really. Like there's no way you would know that this is the button to push. There's really no...
Sorry, I'm pausing that guy for a minute.
I do this.
Put him back a little bit. Sorry, but where did the icing go? There it is. We need that on a little bit thicker. Donut. Oh, that makes that a lot worse, though. It's alright. I don't know how to fix that. We'll find out later. He'll definitely explain it to us. I don't know why that's breaking, but it's working, so. I mean, we can't complain.
Grab this edge here, sorry, that point there, and I just move it down. You can see that part of it is this edge here, at least, or this point, is now snapping to the face, okay? But this part is not.
Hotkey to edit mode in Blender. Tabby. Oh, okay. That makes a lot more sense.
Okay. So there, okay. I'll try not to say that too much.
Okay.
There's a function for this. Underneath snap to project individual elements, which doesn't explain anything really. Like, there's no way you would know that this is the button to push. There's really no clue that that's what to do, but it is. If we check that, now when we use our proportional fall off, anything that falls in the proportional fall off area will now also snap to the face underneath it.
Wow.
That is how we do it. Now we can do whatever we want here. We can move this around, we can do whatever, and we can make our donut icing look like icing, and it will automatically snap and form the shape of the donut, which is perfect. Now, I've learned from doing donuts many, many, many times. I've made more virtual
I wonder if this guy makes
than
donuts.
actual donuts I've ever eaten. I've learned that it's better if you work from reference. Okay, so go to your Google Images and type in donut icing, and then just find an image. Doesn't really matter which one, but like something that you like. Okay, if you like the look
No,
of it,
I'll make my own
an
donut.
extra dribbly one, you can
Shut
do
up.
that. I happen to like this one here. Just save the image.
Make a
put it
couple
somewhere, put it on your
dribbles.
desktop, and then I'm going to show you how to bring this into Blender.
I don't care.
We want to split our window here, and you can do that one of two ways. One is to go
Big
basically
donut
over
drip.
the edge, a divider of a window here, until you get those little arrows there, so that you could change the size.
That don't look like
And then just
donut.
right click there, and then you can say vertical or horizontal split. So, whoops, oh, that did nothing. Vertical split. Ta-da. So we've now got two windows. Another way to do it is to go to the top right-hand corner of your screen until you get, there's no button for it, but your cursor becomes a little target pointer thing. And if you just click and drag to the left into it, it will now split the view. If you click and drag to the
I
right,
really don't care, dude.
and that used to be the only way you could make extra windows in Blender. You just had to know to do that. There was a little like fold thing there, but anyways, it's kind of an old thing that they've kind of kept because it's pretty handy. So anyways, once I've split the view, this could be anything. So this is a whole bunch of all the features of Blender, and it goes deep. The one we're looking for is Image Editor, which allows you to, guess what? Just
I really
bring
don't need an image,
any
buddy.
old image. So this is the one we're going to do. Okay. Now, I want to start to model some of the shapes here, and it should result in a far better one than if I just went by eye. Because it's one of those lessons you learn that you always think you know how something looks, and then you get to the end and you go, it doesn't look really good. And then you go, oh, I should have just used a reference photo because it's totally different than what I imagined.
No.
I want to get a t-shirt. That just says reference, reference, reference. Because it's like my biggest piece of advice for artists whenever they ask for feedback. I'm like, just look at reference. You got it wrong. And I do it myself.
Brush it up.
Anyway, so to make this gloopy bit, you probably see that if I like grabbed one of these pieces and I like moved it down, it looks jagged. There's not enough detail here to create that bit. So what we need is more detail. So I am going to apply our subsurf, okay? So to apply anything, it's best to put it before put it to the top, because that's essentially what it's going to do. It has to apply it, and then it's going to be reading from the top anyway, roughly. So I put it to the top, and it's okay. We'll fix this edge after. To apply the subsurf, if we go to this little drop-down arrow and then hit apply, or you can just hit Control-A while hovering over this, it will apply whatever is in the viewport amount, not the render amount, but the viewport amount. Okay, so I'm just going to, I'll just hit Control-A or hit apply. And now, whoops, why is that? Okay, all right. You can see that we now have double the amount of our of vertices on it. I'm temporarily hiding the donut, by the way, which you can do by hitting,
Okay,
you can
thank
hide
you.
anything temporarily by hitting H, and then Alt-H will bring anything. So
Donut.
you just need to temporarily get something out of the way, H, and then Alt-H. Okay. But yeah, somehow this is like, I don't know, it's like clipping through it, which we could, it's odd that that's happening. You can see that if I just like randomly click here, that I'm going to bring this through. Yeah. There is another way, which I'll show you. We're going to use a shrink wrap modifier next, but I want to do this in order to just sort of show you, sort of like the problem-solving way of doing things. But anyways. All right, let's find where it was I was going to make that gloopy bit. It doesn't really matter. I can just do it right here. Okay, so I'm going to make a little bit that goes down. This bit over here, this bit can go down even further, like that, right there. And then this, I'm going to use to pull down. Now, if I pull, oh, so there's a bug in Blender. I believe it's a bug because it's only happening occasionally, and didn't happen in the last version of Blender. Pretty sure this is a bug just because I'm using the beta version of 3.0. For some reason, it's selecting the through my mesh, which should not happen, but it's happening right now, and it's very irritating. So I'm gonna have to report the bug after.
That's what was happening to me, buddy.
But anyway, it just means I have to be careful. If
I don't think they fixed it.
Yes, it's. Oh, the other thing I wanted to do after the solidify modifier now is add another subsurf modifier so that we get that.
Oh, okay.
Back.
That's what I was doing. Wrong.
Okay, but if I move it down, it looks it's a little too stretched. Okay, so you want to try and go as far as you can, but at a certain point you need extra mesh. You need to sort of break this line to create extra parts of the mesh. So the way to do that is to extrude. So if I select part of my mesh here, let's say 3 points like that.
Well, I'm not asking the program to do that.
Extra faces, extra vertices, and because this is turned on, it should also.
There's no reason it should be doing that. I'm not asking the program to do that.
And I'm going to do it again. Let's just make an extra long gloopy bit. Okay, so you can see that is a totally different look, right? You've got this bit that is now like free flowing down there rather than feel like it's like stretching an edge. So modeling is, I mean, that's really like a big part of modeling is understanding topology and like where to, add more detail where you need it and where not to, etc. I'm just pinching these in, by the way, by grabbing 2 points and then hitting S. But yeah, I'm trying to keep this fairly simple for this tutorial. Okay, so I've got that little bit there. Now let's do another little bit that goes next to it. So I'll grab this bit, I'll move this down. Let's grab 2 points. Just make this a short little gloopy bit. Or will it be? That looks a little bit weird, actually. It's so odd that bug has happened. I've never seen that bug before. Bugs get fixed surprisingly quickly in Blender, by the way, if you're curious.
No, they don't.
They are hard to come across because with an open source software like Blender, like so many people are using it and so many people are reporting bugs that, yeah, it is surprisingly more stable than 3ds Max Maya. I say that now and like people will be raging in the comments. No, it's not. It's but I'm pretty sure that's like fairly well agreed upon in the community. But anyways, not to toot Blender's horn because it's definitely not perfect, but it does seem to be fairly stable. That's one of its great points. All right, and you know what? I might make another little gloopy bit over here. I don't want to make this.
Why does it do that? That is kind of weird.
I'll show you sort of the thought process that goes into it, because some people will then go like, "Why does his donut tutorial take? Why does it take 6 hours to make a donut?" Well, it doesn't. I can do it really quick if you want, but you won't learn anything. Anyways, now I'm making on the other side of the donut. Let's say over here.
Is he still going?
Like a really big gloopy bit that goes
on
down.
about the donut.
But so far down that it's going to extrude another piece down. Hitting E to extrude it down, and then I'll scale that in by hitting S. And let's just move this up and around. All right, that's pretty good. And then
Why is that happening?
that seems to be a common thing when you've got one gloopy
Why is
bit
it
with one
selecting
bit
those?
right next to it. I don't know if that's true or not. Just sort of making it up as I go. Okay, cool.
Doesn't happen when I do
Let's just say
that.
we continued that all the way around, but you could fine tune it and make it look as good as you want. Now, another thing to learn is that donuts, unlike this one, I mean, this is actually pretty good, but you could see that the edge, like the donut shape, something happens in the middle of it, okay? And you might be able to see it in other reference photos. But basically, usually it's like divoted. It's like it's fat all around it, and then this part on the edge, this one's probably a clear photo, it sort of cuts into it a little bit. And the reason for that, I actually recorded a video that I'll put on the screen here. The reason for that is that when it's cooked, it's put into a fryer. It sits and it just like floats. So half of it is submerged in this fryer, and then it flips, and then they do the other half. So the part that's like resting on the surface of the oil usually is cooked less because I guess the oil is less hot, I guess. But I guess it would depend on the buoyancy of the donut, so maybe it doesn't happen all the time. But evidently, that seems to be one component of a donut is that it has that bit that sort of goes in. So it's like it's fat up top, it goes in a little bit, and then it's fat down the bottom again. So let's do that in edit mode with our donut. But we need more geometry. Same problem as we did with the donut icing straight away. We've got the same problem here. So I'm going to apply my subsurf modifier over here, hit apply. Now I've got double the geometry, and I don't need to add
Oh, it's selecting stuff through the mesh.
And now I'm going to hit O. Whoops. O again. Turn that on. Disable snapping because I no longer need that, or I don't need it for this step anyway. And then using my proportional fall off, because I do want that, I'm just going to make it like a little bit flat on the inside part here. Okay. Cool. All right. Now, this is now way off. Okay. So why did I do it in this order? Right. Why, Andrew? Why didn't we start shaping it the way like that? Because now it would seem like we have to go through here, turn on this, and like snap it for each one of these parts, and that's just annoying. Well, you don't, okay? Because there is, and I did it in this order because I want to show you there's two ways to make something snap. The other one is the shrink wrap modifier. So the shrink wrap modifier, if I click this little target eyedropper here, the eyedropper, whenever you see that, it just means click it and then select on your viewport which object you want to target. If you hit that, it will now snap to the mesh. Now, what's happened? Why does it look like, I don't know, pretty cool pattern, but yeah. Why is it doing that? It's because of the order of your modifier. So if something doesn't look right, check the order of your modifiers. It's working top.
Ooh, that's a nice curve.
So it's giving thickness first, and then later on, it's shrink wrapping it to it. So obviously that's not right. Shrink wrapping goes first. Now that we've done that, you can see this is what it looked like before. This is what it looks like after. So shrink wrap modifier will try to find the shortest distance between each of these points and the mesh underneath it. And it just so happens to usually get it right.
Okay, icing. Modifier. Where is it? Shrink wrap. Very bottom, right? No, very top. Near surface point, on surface, target. Oh, that doesn't look very good.
Just check the inside part, make sure there's no problems there. But yeah, that's how you can do it. So now we've got something that looks a little bit more like the shape of a donut, right? Because the edges are, that the sides of it are not jutting out. They seem to be flat. And that's kind of cool. It's kind of what we want. I might actually make this bottom bit just a little bit fatter. So I'm going to hit Alt-S on this. Whoop, turn off this. Alt-S, just make this a little bit chunkier. Just add a little bit of interest to it. And then, yeah, just go through it and continue making your icing droopy like you want. Now, this was one way to do this droopiness, and it's okay, but it doesn't look as good as it could, right? Because when this drip goes down here, you can see that it becomes more bulbous, right? As the liquid sort of forms that droplet there. And
There we go.
We are going to do that in the next step, the next part. We are going to jump into sculpting. So just basically create... See why professionals like...
I'm gonna be right back. I will be back. We're back, baby. 318.
Like Oscar Wojnski, trust Polygon for their models and textures. Sign up for free at polygon.com to see the difference that high quality assets can make to your renders. Welcome to part 5. We have, up until this point, just been working in edit mode, right? And manually coming in here with our points and sort of moving and manipulating them. But there is another method called sculpting, which can be beneficial in certain cases, and in some cases highly necessary, and allows you to use brush strokes to move your vertices around, and that's what I'll show you right now. So
Donut.
if we were to start sculpting here, it would just be
Donut.
we've got all these modifiers, right? We've got shrink wrap, solidify, subdivision, blah blah blah. When you start sculpting, you don't have any of that, okay? So what you need to do is apply what you want before you start sculpting. So we want all of these applied in this order. So you can go to the little drop down and hit apply, or you can use the hotkey Control A and Control A again. Okay, so when I do that, I've applied also that subdiv modifier, right? So it's given me double the amount of vertices, which is, again, what I would need, because if I go back to what it looked like before, that's not enough to really play with it. Because what we want to do is we want to create some of these little globules. Pretend that's a... If I go back to what it looked like before, that's not vertices, which is also that Control A to the little drop down and hit apply, or you can use the hotkey Control A and Control A again. Okay, so when I do that, I've applied also that subdiv modifier, right? So it's given me double the amount of vertices, which is, again, what I would need, because if I go back to what it looked like before, that's not enough to really play with it. Because what we want to do is we want to create some of these little globules. Pretend that's a word, globules. Little droplets that sort of bulge out. So we need more vertices. So I'm going to hit Control A on that, and now we've got enough. So sculpt mode, let's do it. Go up to the top tab of your window there. So these are workspaces. Yeah, all these ones along here, these are workspaces. And basically it's just like a pre-configured layout. So instead of having this, it's just like pre-configured to work this way. But you can also swap in and out of certain modes wherever you are without changing your mode, just by hitting Control Tab. I suppose I should turn that tool back on. Let's hit that. Yeah. Okay, awesome. So sculpt mode, if you just start drawing, just paint across it, you'll see that you've got some sculpting happening. And there are a number of different tools within sculpting. The draw one is the most basic. It's literally a sort of a push-pull based on where it is that you're looking from. It'll just basically push the surface out towards you. And then the opposite of that, if you hold down Control, that is sort of the reverse of a brush. So you can see that it's now digging into it. So a whole bunch of these you could use. I'd say the most common is it's probably grab, which you can use by just tapping G or hitting that one down there. And that enables you to click and pull out onto, yeah, just anywhere. Now, the brush size of this is really small. So you can change the brush size up here. I don't know why, but my mouse is doing this weird thing where it doesn't register my movement until like I start moving. It's very bizarre. Anyways, but you could do it there, but actually the hotkey, which is just a far easy way of doing it, is F. And then F, you just drag out until you've got the size that you want, basically, and then you just do a single click. And then Shift F will give you the strength. So you can see in the top, actually, as I move, you can see the strength value changing there as well. But I'll just leave that as the default. And you can see, yeah, now dragging makes a lot more sense. So, what is the difference between like using grab here and then using it here? I mean, it's just like ease of use, like which one makes more sense depending on what it is that you're trying to do. So some people would find that working with grab in certain areas would be preferable, and then others might find, as I do sometimes, that you want to see the mesh. You want to actually be able to like control it and take vertices and move them on specific axes. Oh yeah, that thing's still kicking in. I'll turn that off. Yeah, so that might be useful, but in this case, we want to do some sculpting. So, okay, so grab. What's another one that's really heavily used is smooth, and this will obviously smooth out detail. Now, you can also temporarily activate smooth anywhere, regardless of what tool you've got, just by holding down Shift. So if you just use Shift, you can see that it's just temporarily activated the smooth tool. So if you want it, because it's such a, I don't know why the default is set to 0.7. That seems way too high to me. But if you're using another tool and you start holding down Shift, you don't have the control to change the strength. The strength is still reflected over here. So if you want to, I would suggest turning that down to like a 0.2, and then when you use it, it's like now a lot more subtle when you use the smooth tool. Okay, now the other one that I'd say it's pretty heavily used, even for sculpting characters and things, is inflate, and that is the one that we really want to use here for these globules. So if I just click in one place and I don't move my mouse, it doesn't build upon it unless you've got airbrush as a setting turned on. So you can see if you hit N, you're on your properties, and then go to tool, this is showing your active tool. It's also here, by the way. So these are your properties, right, for your scene and everything else. But this one at the top there is active tool. So what is the difference between this and this? Nothing. It's completely the same. It was just a habit that I went to properties. But yeah, it's over here now. So if you turn on, let me just find it actually. There it is, airbrush. So if you, basically that enables you to, you don't have to like move your mouse. You could just click on it and leave it wherever it is that you want, and then it will just build upon that area basically. So I can click there, I can click here, like such. I don't know. What was that video of the Miss America and such as things and such? I don't know. Poor girl. You don't want to become a meme for something like that. So airbrush is working, it works fine over here, but it's not working so great over there. So I'm going to switch it back to space, which basically means it'll activate when you draw out further enough that it thinks there should be another dot there, basically. But anyways, I'm basically looking at my reference photo again, which I can bring back by dragging this out and then going to image editor, and from the drop down, just click on this. I can see that, yeah, basically on the areas, not just on like these globule bits, but here as well. Like up here, you can see that it's like a thin film of that icing, but down there, that's where it all rolls off to. So really on the outer edge there, I want to do some painting. So I'm just clicking along that edge there with the inflate brush. If you find that it's too much, you can use Shift F to turn it down and get more subtle movements, or turn it up. And obviously, this will work a lot better if you have a stylus. So a stylus has the one big advantage. I mean, not just because it's, you can flick your wrist. That's not really the big advantage of styluses. It's more so because you've got pen pressure. So you can subtly do like dit, 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 and then and taper it and do different pen pressures. It's like even like really basic styluses will have like 2,000 levels of pen pressure that it'll detect as your fingers like pushing on it or whatnot. Whereas your mouse has one. It's a binary on and off thing. So I'm using mouse right now because I know that most of you watching are also using a mouse. So I want to show you that it is possible. But I also want to say, I recommend getting a stylus if you can afford it. And especially if you want to get into characters, or, don't rush out and invest in something before you're absolutely sure that you enjoy Blender and that this is something you want to do. But at some point, you'll probably
Okay, we need to go here. Go to tab E. Okay, I'm pretty sure it's shift in this. Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna go inside here. We're gonna go across here. Hmm. How do I go about this? I'll see. Okay, so we need to go down here a little bit. want to go down here. Okay. Okay, donut's fun. There's just a really big error right here that if I want to fix, I'm gonna have to erase about 2 or 3 hours of progress. So yeah. If I go back to layout, okay, that's not what I wanted. If I get here, I'm making donut. 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 I'm trying to get rid of this mistake I made right here. Because everything else is completely fine. I mean, everything is completely fine. But then there's just this right here. And I could have been about 2 more tutorials done if I didn't have this. And if I want to and if I want to go back to the point before I made this mistake, because I realized this, I didn't look in the middle of the donut until like an hour after I made the mistake. So I'd have to delete like an hour's worth of progress, and it's just not worth it. I mean, let's get the inside look. The inside of the donut looks quite wacky. Don't even know what to do anymore. I think it's just gonna have to stay. Whatever. We can always make another donut. Yeah, tomorrow we can just make another donut. That's pretty simple. We can just make another one tomorrow. This is our first one. Tomorrow we'll make a second one. This one's our test donut. Next donut will be way better than this. I don't know though. Okay. Let's get back to the tutorial.
Realize as you get into 3D more that, you know, a stylus is probably a worthwhile investment. So you can pick them up cheap, man. Really cheap.
Oh,
Just
no.
on like Facebook Marketplace. Just type in Wacom, WACOM. That's sort of like a
Wacom?
leading brand. But there's a bunch of like cheaper brands nowadays that you could go to as well. Anyways, another one I'm going to do is just across here because we got this.
By the way, it doesn't actually look like that, does it?
Variance. Oh, the strength is too high. I'll turn that down. A little bit of variance to our top, our icing here. Why not? So I'm just doing a few little
Alright,
dabs.
I was wrong.
A dab here, a dab there, just to give a little bit of a wavy surface. Why not? And then also
Sculpt.
down here, although it's not really going to be seen that much, I'll just make sure that there's a little bit of variance here. Right? It's usually where it's like, it's all sort of mushed together in the center anyway. Would there be like a little bit of the dough sticking out underneath? I don't know. Donut shops are popular, man. Like, I don't know if that's like a revelation to anyone else, but like, I don't know. I try to eat healthy and like avoid sugary things, right? And so I just, for my whole life, I've just been ignoring like donut shops.
You're hilarious, dude.
Reference photo or that video that I showed you. And I was like, wow, there's a queue. And it wasn't like a artisanal donut shop or anything. This was just like your regular Donut King, just in the shopping center. I was like, wow.
Oh, look at that.
So there are people that are
Donut King. Oh,
got to go do my groceries.
Donut King. Donut King's definitely a place.
Not judging,
Oh my
not
god,
judging.
Donut
Well,
King.
I mean, look, okay, everybody judges, but
Gotcha, no.
it's one of those things where it's like
Yeah.
you think the rest of the world is how you view it, right?
Okay, done.
But it's not. Everyone's got their own snacks. Some people would say that me eating
We need to smooth that.
is a poor idea of a snack. Maybe it is. All right. Looking at my donut here, let's do some more. Yeah, might as well. We got the sculpt brush out. So
Look at
select the
that.
donut. If you can't do that, you have to Control Tab. This is how I'm doing this, or you can go up here. You have to swap to object mode, remember, before you can switch to another object to start sculpting that. So when you've got the other object selected, then Alt Tab and do some sculpting over here as well. So I'll do a little bit of inflation.
Oh, he has the same thing going on at the bottom of his donut.
Right? No. Only the U.S. government can do that.
Where did the U.S. government come into
I don't
this?
think about politics or economics. I just see stuff on the news. Hyperinflation. I'm like, ooh, doesn't sound good.
Thank you.
All right. Just a few.
Hyperinflation. That doesn't sound good.
Wow, I don't know. Is this my blender or is this mouse? My mouse that's doing that. I don't know. It's very bizarre. All right. Or maybe I just need to reformat my computer. It's been a while. Okay.
That definitely needs
how's
to
it
go
looking?
down a little.
Pretty good. I'll swap back. I'll do a little bit here, a dab here, a dab there. You get the idea, right? I don't need to show you everything.
Does that look like a nice
Play
donut?
around with it. Grab brush, G, inflate brush, I, and smooth brush. You just hold down Shift wherever you want. Don't do it too much. That's kind of a common mistake. People smooth out things.
I'm gonna ask my dad if he wants to see the updated donut. Give me 1 second. I'm asking him if he wants to see the donut. Updated it quite a fair bit. Let's kind of push that in. I'm asking him if he wants to see it. Has anyone said anything on Discord? Oh, by the way, if you're in chat, I can't see. Okay, I'll be right back. Actually, no. I'm gonna keep making it. He's almost off work anyways.
Things when they're sculpting, and you just smooth out all the detail. It's not good. You want to do just a little bit here and there. Okay, and I'll pull that up there. All right.
Oh yeah, when you pull it at
You
the
can
top
see the
too.
differences, right? That sculpting has. It's more of a fluid, organic motion that you can sort of. It's more creative than the edit mode where you're coming in here with the vertices. But there are pros and cons.
Yeah, Sculpt's way better. I don't know why you wanted to use vertices.
Can't do that snap to faces thing, right? Especially when you've got a surface like this, right? That's got volume now because we've applied the solidify thing. You can't do that snap thing. So because we want it wrapping around our donut, it's good that we did it in this order. Otherwise, we would be out of luck. It's also a little bit harder to do like this part, right? Like it's like this part needs to go out, this part needs to go in. Yeah, it's just there are certain.
Okay,
things
wait, I
that
can
you
just
like,
scoop
it's
this
easy.
under the
I just
floor.
Swap into edit mode, and I'll do it there, and then I'll swap back to sculpt mode when I want to do something there. You just sort of get better at it.
We just made that
Anyways, I'm
worse.
going to jump back to layout mode now, which is, I guess, sort of, maybe it's more of like the default view, but layout is the one that you normally stay on. That's where at least that's where I stay rooted. And then because we've got like some of this like little jagged edges coming in, I'm going to add in another subsurf modifier. Now, if you've got a poor computer and you find that like it's like rendering becomes complex later, or it's hard to move around your viewport, you might not want to. You might want to just like delete that perhaps. On my case, I would just want to make that look nice and smooth. So that's why I've left that in. All right. Well, that is sculpting. That's good. We made some good time. Go ahead and join me in the next video as we get into materials, lighting, and rendering.
I'm funny.
Renders like these, you need.
What's it gonna look like? Oh, donut. Start. I'm excited. Right after, once we get done with this, we're getting ready to have colors on the donut. Isn't that nifty? We can make this a mochi model. No one knows what that is, but for like a One Piece game. Once you put lighting, it isn't visible. Hardly. And if I texture it right, I can like just make it look like it's a mistake in the donut. So we have okay, I'm 14 in 12 minutes. It'll be 4 p.m. and then 5 p.m. and tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday. We'll go back to school and then yay. We'll hardly be able to work on this, but we'll still work on it.
To make renders like
What do we do after this? It's just after this, it's just like texture painting still. And then it's making the animation and stuff. Right.
Like these, you need high quality assets, which is why I created Polygon, a library of models, textures, and
That's why I created Polygon.
any 3D software. Get started today at polygon.com. We have a juicy looking delicious donut. Now it's time to
That's not, it doesn't even writing.
rendering and lighting and shading and everything else. So as I explained at the start, if you go and you hit a render, it will take a snapshot of what you've got
Really? Dang.
from the point of view of the camera. Now, it has done that. It just so happens our donut is really, really tiny because when we scaled down our donut, we didn't change the light or the camera. So to bring this camera in here, there's a couple of ways you could do it. I mean, you could just, drag it in and try and manually position it. The way I like to do it is I get my view where I like it, like where I want my camera, like this.
Donut.
I hit the, let me turn on the screen keys too. I hit the hotkey Control-Alt number pad 0, and that will snap the camera to that location. Alternatively, and this is something that users of other 3D software is most familiar with, on the screen keys too. I hit the hotkey Control-Alt number pad 0, and that will snap the
Control-Alt
camera
number
to that
pad 0.
location. Alternatively, and this is something that users of other 3D software is most familiar
Okay,
with,
doesn't work.
in your properties, so I just hit N to bring up properties. Under view, you can click camera to view. And then when you move like normally, like orbiting around your scene, the camera will stay locked to it. If you don't have that checked, if you're looking through the camera and then you just start panning, you can see you've broken it, right? And now the camera is there. So doing it like this means that you can basically put your camera, position it wherever you want it, and it'll always stay locked. Some people leave it always locked. Like I work with a guy who's like learned 3D with 3ds Max, and that's what he's doing. He's just
Yeah, I'm just gonna move the camera manually. Hey. Oh, okay. I just got those two confused. Donut. Donut. Funny donut. Yeah, I really don't need to render this right now.
Leaves that checked.
Around 5.
To me, it's weird. I
Oh.
the scene and seeing this, so I always uncheck it. But it's up to you. Anyways, okay. Position my camera there. I hit render.
Donut.
All right. The light is really far away. Let's bring the light in to be somewhere close by. Here's another hotkey that's actually pretty convenient in this case. The lamp's all the way over there. Our donut is there. If you hit Alt-G, that will actually snap any object, any selected object to the center of the 3D viewport, which is where these axes lines intersect, which just so happens to be where our donut is. So I'll just move this over here like that, just so we've got like some basic directional light left to right. And let's look through our camera. All right. And also I might as well, I don't like that intersecting through my, those grid lines intersecting through my donuts, just annoying me. All right. Let's move this up. Here's the other way you can move the camera. If you don't like checking that, if you just select the camera frame, then you hit G and just move it like any other object. So that's another way I like to do it. All right. Okay, so now hit F12 to do a render. Okay. The lighting is really, really, really bright because, of course, it was set for a different scale, really far away. Just set it to like somewhere around 20 will be fine for this demonstration. F12, there we go. Okay, cool. So we've now taken a snapshot from the point of view of our camera, and it has calculated the lighting information. It's calculated the shading and all that good stuff. Okay. There is a way, though, to see that exact result in your viewport. And you can do that, top right-hand corner, viewport shading, set the method to rendered. Haha. And now look at that. We have the exact same result as if we were to hit F12. Rendered. Haha. And now look at that. We have the exact same result as if we were to hit F12, but we have it in real time as we pan around. So this is the rendered view mode. You can also change this at any point just by holding down Z or Z on your keyboard and just dragging out. So solid view, that's the one that we've been using up until this point. There's also wireframe, and this will just show you the mesh, which is handy sometimes. Pretty similar, by the way, to this one, X-ray, but just different. And then you've got material preview, which is it's used for material previews. It's basically, it uses like an HDR light. So instead of the lighting that you've got in your scene, it's just like a quick way to preview materials because it uses an HDR so you can see reflections and everything else to quickly test things. But rendered, there you go. We've got rendered. So how is it that we're able to, like see things in real time? And
Okay. P to go into camera. Blender. Oh, yeah. That was really simple. Oh, it is 0. Zero.
and whatnot. Rendering is normally a very intensive process for the CPU and the processor. It has to calculate all this lighting and shading information. And that is where we need to talk about render engines. By the way, the size of this camera is bugging me. I'm just going to change the viewport display of this. It won't make any difference to a render. It's just for the viewport, just something more reasonable. Okay, render engines. Okay, so what we're looking at right now with this is the EV rendering engine. Okay, this is a render engine that Blender comes with. So what on earth is a render engine? So 3D software, technically it's used for creating meshes and animations and everything else. Rendering is often used. You use a third-party tool, or you pay a company. So basically, there are a whole bunch of render engines out there. You've got V-Ray, Arnold, Redshift, Corona, Octane. Those are sort of the big 5, and then also Cycles and EV. Cycles and EV are what Blender comes with. They're built-in rendering engines, and you can swap between them right here. You've got EV and you've got Cycles. Workbench, just ignore that. That is a